Hey Flosstube. Okay, so I had planned on filming within 2 weeks, but it's more like within 3 weeks. But I'm back. Part of the reason was because, well, I didn't have a lot of time, but I also got really focused on one piece. And those other people out there who do Flosstube, you don't want to come back into a video really with just one piece, because that's a little boring. So I now have 2 pieces. So I'm going to show you some progress on 2 pieces. I'm going to show you some haul. I'm going to talk about some charts. I am going to encourage you to adopt ducks. And I've got some plants over here. So lots of things to talk about, and let's just dive right in. So I will say, duck-wise, right now I have adopted out, that you guys have sent me receipts for, about 1,100 ducks. And you're like, wow, that's a lot. Last year we were at about just shy of 4,800. So we're nowhere near where we were last year yet. So keep those adoptions coming in. The highest number of ducks that have been sold right now to one person for the grand prize is a mere 50 ducks. I know a lot of people like to wait till the end to purchase that large number, and that's fine, but don't wait too close to the end. Now the race is going to be on May 13th, that Saturday. You'll need to have bought your ducks before the website is shut down for the race. I always like to tell you that it's going to be that morning sometime. I know closer to the time whether they're going to shut it down the day before or that morning. We'll tackle that once we get closer. Adopt your ducks. If you're unfamiliar what in the heck I'm talking about, go to my last video. The whole first 13 minutes of that video is all about Duck Derby and the giant amount of things that are collecting in my upstairs office and have taken over my dining room table. They're going to be prizes for you guys. I opened up all of the boxes today, and then another box came in the mail. So I'm never caught up. But this one, I did enjoy. The person wrote, you know, Duck Derby on it. So that's always fun. People drawing little things and putting duck stickers on the boxes. I'm sure the post office is like, what is happening? I started work on a peacock, a unicorn, and a badger for my birthday again as my birthday piece. And I just got kind of obsessed with it and worked on it for 2-3 weeks. It was a while. It's really, really fun. It's nice, soothing stitching. Now there have been quite a number of days that I haven't stitched since I filmed last. And that's been due to work. We have been doing a class of training volunteers, and I'm the program manager for the CASA program, which is court-appointed special advocates. And we train volunteers thoroughly, background check, the whole 9 yards, to advocate for children whose parents have case plans through the juvenile court system, majority of which are children that have come into the foster care system. So we're advocating for them. We're a voice for them as to what their best interest is. Now, all these ducks that you're adopting, that money is going towards the parent nonprofit that I'm under for my program and the other programs. Anyway, so teaching that class from 5:30 to 8:30 one night a week for 8 weeks, you get home from that after it's like a 12-hour day plus travel on each end of it, and you just don't want to do anything. So I would come home and just crash. And that's the long and short of it. This is where I got on this piece. I absolutely love it. It's so much fun. Doing all of the individual little, like each little bird or each little snail is like a little mini finish. And then when you just want an evening that's completely mindless, like if you fill in a few motifs, you can just mindlessly fill in green around it. It's so much fun to work on. And I have so far to go. It is though, like part of me is like, I would love to have this finished on my wall. And the other part of me just enjoys the process so much. I'm going to enjoy working on this for a while. So I've worked from home today. And guys, it's been a day. It has been a day in the child welfare system. I feel like I've talked to most of my volunteers today, and defects workers and attorneys. It's been a day. So we're just going to talk about cross stitch for a while, and that's going to be wonderful. So there's that. That's the progress that I have on that piece. For Dark 13 stitching, I made myself switch, because I didn't last month, and because there's nothing dark about the piece I just showed you. But I did pull out the Weaver's Tapestry Sal that I've been working on. And this is how far I am on it. And you can tell I'm getting close to the end. I'm getting there. This time, I finished these guys. They needed legs. I finished the border work and took those down. And I did this line, this whole row of motifs, and started on this. I'll probably pop this back on and work on it for another day or two, unless something strikes my fancy between now and this evening once I'm done. This is also a really fun piece to work on. Kind of slowly move it up so you can see it. And this is with DMC, one of their variegated threads. I think that the thread name is Espresso. And this is on a piece of Picture This Plus Bramble. And I love it. Love it, love it, love it. And that's all the stitching that I've done. But it's a lot of stitching. It's just only on 2 pieces. So we'll look at haul. I just got this bag in the mail from Starry Owl Stitchery. I love her bags. And this one was so brightly colored. I could not turn it down. It's just so pretty. It's got cherries on the inside. They're so thick and nice. And when you have as many whips as I have, and you know that they're going to be in a project bag for a long period of time before they get attention again, it's nice to know that they're somewhere safe. I love the blueberries. Special place in my heart for blueberries. My dad grew blueberries on our property, not like commercially or anything like that, but he had a number of bushes out at the end of our field that he tended to, and we picked blueberries every year. And then they started producing so many blueberries that, you know, neighbors and relatives and friends would come and pick blueberries. And it's some pretty good memories with my dad out there picking blueberries. Also, memories of my dad, I think, is one reason that I got this chart. Growing up, we never had chickens like when I was growing up, but like when I went to college, like my dad decided, like they always had a garden and he always had dogs, and he had grown up on a farm, but we never had like animals. But he got chickens after I left. So I just love this Stacy Nash piece that came out at market this year. I don't have a farm. I'm not a farmhouse decor kind of girl, but I loved this chicken piece for some reason. Had to have it. So this is the Spring Chickens Pin Keep. Love it. Also, I had to have from market was this very odd sampler that came out from Needlework Press. This is Jane Bowen, 1837. Those odd looking women and that rabbit. It's a very weird looking rabbit. Not to mention, I love an Adam and Eve piece. And the bee skeps and the butterflies. I don't know if you can tell, darn ring light. The bee skeps on the other side of the tree. It's just a really cool piece. So I went ahead actually and got the DMC that goes with that, because I'm going to do it in just DMC. It calls for, well, it's just charted for DMC on the back. Kind of love that. Kind of love that. So about that, and then I watched a video from Jessie Marie. Jessie Marie does stuff, and she is an OG floss tuber, like one of the first floss tubers. So if you've never watched her videos before, and she loves to do a good floss tube movie. So if you want just a video to have on to fill the time while you're stitching, she's a great choice. And she has been doing videos. I think she said this year will be her 10-year floss tube anniversary. So her birthday is also this month. And in her video before the one that she just posted, she talked about that she had fallen in love with this French piece, and she wanted to do like this French piece, maybe a French Sal for her birthday. So I'll put the piece that she originally, it just came out. This is by Reflets de Soie. I don't speak French. I don't claim to speak French. I don't claim to understand French pronunciation, nor do I need to be corrected because I'm not going to remember. No offense. So it just is what it is. So this piece here is what she initially fell in love with and said that she was going to do for her birthday. And I was like, that's beautiful. There's so many French pieces out there that are absolutely beautiful. I love Jessie, and we've often participated in each other's birthday sales. So I was like, I need to figure out what I would do for Jessie's birthday. So I actually fell in love with this piece last year. It was a market exclusive, and I didn't buy it at the time, so I had to hunt it down. I found one shop online that sells it. If you love it too, if you just Google the name, it's not very hard to find that one shop. And when I got it though, because I thought there was a good chance with the way it was done that it might be a French piece, but when I got it, it says that it's one of countless needle artworks that are now referred to as Berlin woolwork patterns. So thousands of these patterns were printed in Austria, Germany, and many other countries. So that makes me feel like this is probably more of an Austrian or German piece. But I own it now and I love it. So one day I will stitch this. This is by Queenstown Sampler Designs, and this is Ruth. And she's beautiful. I know that there's a couple of people on Instagram who have also purchased this and are discussing potentially starting it in the near future, and she's lovely. She is absolutely lovely. Maybe if there's enough hype about her, Queenstown would think about maybe a wider release because she's gorgeous. But what I settled on, which was a much more realistic choice of a French piece to do for Jessie's birthday, is this, which I'm going to come out and say is a way overpriced pattern. But you're allowed to choose and charge whatever you want to for patterns. But this was like a $20 chart. And it's like one sheet. This is, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. That is the French word for poppies. I love poppies. I have a poppy tattoo on my arm, along with my cross stitch here. So, big fan, would really love to stitch this piece up and frame it in a very small frame. And I love the funky DMC that it calls for. This, Jessie, this one's for your birthday. So I'm gonna do this. But I also just watched Jessie's newest video in which she doesn't mention the chart that she initially said she was going to do for her birthday, but mentions this other chart, which I took a quick picture of you, Jessie, so I'll put that here. Jessie's a big planner like I am, because the planning is very fun, but we don't always stick to our plans, and that's fine. There's no rules in cross stitch. So she's going to start this French piece around her birthday, and it's by Madame Lefay. And I heard her talk about it, and she said that it is an all-French website that you download that from, but that even us English-speaking people can figure it out and navigate our way through it if it's something you wanted to download. So that's what she's going to start. I'm going to start this. And I thought it would be fun just to showcase a few French patterns that I fell in love with along the way of looking for this, or have loved for years, that just didn't feel right for this year, because Lord knows I don't need another gigantic piece. So let's see. I showed you the one, I've got my laptop here. I showed you the one that Jessie initially saw. And then there was just one that was shown on Brenda and Laura's most recent video that was a French sampler that has come out recently. And I was like, oh, well, that's kind of perfect and awesome. It's really pretty. I'll put it here because I do not own it, one day. And that is Louise Chapois, 1844. I'm just guessing on pronunciation. So I love a funky border, and the French samplers also love a funky border. So that's just, it's great. There's several, obviously, through Reflets de Soie, which are French, and I'll just show them together here, or one by one. The next one is Yvonne Leclerc, and that's here. Guys, look at that. How intense is that border? And look, like in the corners of the border. Do you see that peacock? That's insane. It's such a neat piece. If you go on Instagram, there's a few people who I've seen working on it over the years, and it's really neat. So let's see, which other one do we have? This one I think is cool too. This is another by Reflets de Soie, and this is Anais Corvair. But here it is. The motifs are great. The border, again, is absolutely breathtaking. Really, really awesome piece. And I think that's a milkmaid down at the bottom. I don't know, it's just great. This one, actually, when Jessie was talking about it in her video before last, she talked about a French designer that she had seen and accessed that you can get to via Creative Poppy. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Creative Poppy, that is a French website that you can download cross-stitch patterns off of, and they partner with a lot of different designers. Barbara Anna Designs is one that partners with Creative Poppy. If you buy her charts, you'll notice they all say Creative Poppy on them. This is, let's see, Couleur Torte, I have no idea. So this is the chart with, you can see in the dark down there, or in the white at the bottom, the Creative Poppy copyright and the name of the designer that I cannot pronounce. If you're a bird person, this is the French sampler for you. I want to just do that central wreath. It's stunning. And I can see me in the future downloading this and just doing that central wreath at minimum. And this is Clemence Genois. I have no idea. I'm doing my best, guys. So that's that one. And that takes me to the rabbit hole that I went down, which gets me to this chart, which I have stitched one motif from in the past. I dug out my digital copy of this because it was released in Sampler and Antique Needlework Quarterly back in the summer of 2011, I think is the issue this was. I think it's issue 63 if you have the digital version like I do, because that's the way the files are arranged. So look up issue 63 and this chart's in there. It is not noted as French. It is noted as Western European. Most likely German or Austrian, but I would focus in on the Western European part and say if you wanted to do something French for Jessie's birthday, this is an option. I pulled this chart out so much and look at it, I need to just bite the bullet, print it off from my digital version, and kit it up so that I can start this, because this is just a phenomenal sampler. The colors, the cow. That cow is actually, if you read the article in Sampler and Antique Needlework Quarterly, is the reason that this was even shown in the first place. It was shown in the previous year's summer magazine article. And it was an article just about cows and needlework. Maria Tilley, Jane Tyndall, Isabel Johnstone, all of these were, in fact, Isabel Johnstone is actually the chart that's in that one. So if all these names sound familiar to you, just go look them up. They're all fantastic, because who doesn't love a good cow? What was the other one that I actually, Mary Victor, maybe? I sought that one out and bought it because I love a good cow. So this one was shown in that cow article, and there was such a response to it, and people were like, tell us more about that one, that Vicky from Needlework Press charted it, and it was released the next summer in that edition. And I've got to stitch it. I have to stitch it. So that'll be kitted up sometime in the next few months, I'm sure. Put it in a project bag to a way to start. Maybe it would be a really nice, beautiful summer day start. And that is where I did not silence my laptop, and it's alerting me to something that I'm supposed to be doing right now. Let's look. That alert is not my responsibility. Let's silence the laptop. Okay, so all of those wonderful things, feel free to join in, stitch on something French for Jessie's birthday. Let's celebrate her. If you've never seen her videos, go check her out. She is a lovely, lovely person. She is one of the people that created Flosstube and made it what it is today and helped build it from the beginning. And, you know, we have show some appreciation for that. Go show her some love. Tell her happy birthday in the next week or two. Work on something French. We love you, Jessie. Let's look at some plants. So I thought that I would show you my newest plant, my birthday plant from last year to show I haven't killed it, and a plant that's been a struggle here recently that has been on my naughty list. Let's start off with last year's birthday plant that I haven't killed yet. This is a cactus, and I cannot tell that it has grown at all, but it's not dead. I affectionately refer to this guy as my butthole cactus. I got this for my 40th birthday, and if you cannot tell why I call it the butthole cactus, I don't know that I feel comfortable explaining that to you, but I feel like you should be able to tell. I love it. It sits in my kitchen window, which is south facing, and gets all the sun. And I water it, as I do with most of my cactuses, when the soil is completely dry, like bone dry, usually about once a month. And as one of my favorite plant video makers and Instagrammers that also loves a good cactus will say, she drowns that hoe when it's time to water it. So you just, like, don't just give it a tiny amount of water, like really give it some water. So this is the birthday plant that I got this year. And you're like, oh, another cactus. Well, it's technically not. Technically, as I'm getting dirt on my laptop. Y'all didn't see that. Put that back in there. Technically, this is a euphorbia. They are often mistaken for cactuses, and they have thorns instead of spines, and they can grow leaves, which makes them not a cactus. Jim bought me this little weirdo for my birthday this year, my 41st birthday. We went out, and he told me I could pick out any plant I wanted, and I picked out this guy, and he was like, seriously, I'm getting off this easy. This is like a $6 plant. But it's the one I fell in love with. It's not about how expensive a plant is. It's about whether or not it cost you. We named it Pugsley. My newest plant I bought over the weekend. Yeah, I think I bought it over the weekend. I have been looking for one of these. You can find them occasionally, rare occasions, in big box stores, which I did. I bought this at Lowe's, and I've seen them before, but I was having a hard time finding one that was healthy because they like to stay moist, and we know that not all of our box stores keep them well watered or water them as frequently as their needs would like. So this is a Homilamina Selby. And like this way, I mean, you're like, oh, okay, well, that's pretty. But when you see the leaves, look at that variegation. I mean, it's spectacular. And they're do you hear that? They're like thick paper or leather. They kind of feel like leather. And I'm here for it. Look at these leaves. They're so pretty. So I'm trying to figure out where this one's going to live. Right now it's still living on my kitchen island, which Jim is not a huge fan of because that's also our food prep area. And you can tell he's like making a sandwich going, so this plant still lives here? Yeah, it does. But I'll find it a new home. A place where it will get the light needs that it needs, and I will remember to keep it watered. It's also a big deal. This plant is over here, isolated by itself, for a good reason. Ugh. I took this guy out of my greenhouse because somehow he got mealybugs. This is a Hoya Macrophila. Has beautiful leaves, and you can tell they've got this beautiful veining, and they're thick, and they've got this white outline. If you don't know what a mealybug is, I'll pop in a photo here. It's these little white fluffy assholes who like to suck the life out of your plants. You can kill them with alcohol on a Q-tip and kill them, and they die. But that only kills the ones that you can see. So I've been doing that for a while, and then whatever eggs they had laid, or whatever the ones that were too tiny for me to see, matured and continued to try to eat this plant. Yesterday, I filled up a spray bottle with a solution of alcohol and water, the hopefully appropriate ratio, and some Dawn, and sprayed this guy everywhere. I even like unpotted it and like looked like in the soil a little bit to see if maybe like they were living in the soil, and I sprayed some of that. So here's to hoping that I don't see any more bugs on this, and that I can put it back in my cabinet where it loves to live. Because when I first bought this, it didn't have a lot of this going on. It had some of it, but it's grown a lot. It loves the cabinet. If you have Hoya, they love high heat, high humidity, because they're like extreme tropical plants. I mean, I moved my Hoya Crimson Queen in there that had basically just been dormant in my sunroom, which is humid and sunny. I moved it from there to in the cabinet, and it just exploded during the winter with new growth. So it's an ideal environment if you're into Hoya. So there's that. It's really all I have to talk about. I really wanted to show you more of what I have as far as Duck Derby prizes, but it's a mess. I am waiting for all of the prizes to finish coming in. Like, I'm opening the boxes and I'm logging them as they're coming in. I'm looking at things and trying to sort a little bit. But the deadline to get prizes into me is the 30th, which is next weekend. Not this weekend, but next weekend. And once that time has passed, I am going to clear out the floor here in my living room and spread it all out. And then I'm going to start grouping things. This is Halloween. This is Christmas. This is reproduction samplers. These are kits with Ada. And then I'm going to break it down further until I've got a reasonable amount of lots. And then I'm going to drag in assistants who will help me photograph these lots. It's going to be a lot. Then there's other things, like today I opened up a package that had some beautiful yarns in it. And they are the yarns that go with some free Ravelry patterns. And like, I wish I knitted. Like, they're really beautiful. There's more project bags that have come in. There are some out of print Mirabilias that came in today. Mirabilia is not really the thing that I like to hang on my wall per se, but I enjoy stitching a Mirabilia. If you've never stitched one, you should. That is some fun and different stitching. What else has come in? More project bags, more fun stuff. I mean, it's going to be a good Duck Derby year. Don't miss out. And don't forget that the Roxy Thread Co. is donating their entire line. So I don't have that I could show you other than putting a photo right here. But they are going to mail to a winner one of their entire line. It's like almost $1,000 US worth of threads. So generous, so nice. I have been in conversation today with Brittany from Ingleside Imaginarium. She is paired up with a thread provider whose name that I can't remember or pronounce, and Ryan from Wild Violet, and they're putting together like some really fantastic prize package of their combined efforts. And that's also going to be pretty awesome. It's just so much good stuff. You don't want to miss out. Adopt your ducks and then forward your receipt to me at this email address. And I have the link to Adopt Your Ducks down below, and then you'll adopt them. You'll get a receipt in your email, hit forward, send it to me. That's it. I am going to continue to do my job for the day. I've got to get on a virtual call with a judge here in a little bit. So, you know, never stops working. Love you guys. See you later. Hopefully, I'm going on a Stitchy trip. Taking a couple of days off next week. And I'm going on a Stitchy trip. So when I get back, that will be a fun video. You're going to be excited to see it. Trust me.